Counter-Strike 2 has commenced Season 2, and it comes with some changed systems too. Some of which they've teased at, others of which they've dropped on us rather unexpectedly. Let's cover the weapon changes first, and for this, welcome back Sloth Squadron, who has returned from a 3.5-year break. That's how long it's been since the weapon values were tweaked last. What an exciting occasion. The Famas has had its price dropped by $100 to $1,950, and perhaps even more excitingly, has had its standing and crouching accuracy improved, leapfrogging the Galil and landing halfway between that and that of the AK-47 for general tapping and spraying accuracy. This still puts it some way behind the more expensive CT rifles, but what do you expect from such a cheap, French-made weapon? As expected, the M4A4 has had its price also dropped by $100, down to the same $2,900 that the M4A1S was already at. Or as Valve puts it in their blog post, the M4A4 has been made more affordable. In short, CT side has been buffed for Season 2. Or has it? Because where they gained something in rifles, they've lost something in the SMGs. Before I investigate this, let me first moan about how CS2 has made it much more difficult to test weapon accuracy in game. Firstly, it's removed the recoil disable command. And second, the decals now fade out after about 25 seconds rather than remaining there indefinitely. Valve, please fix. This makes it all but impossible for me to test the changes in-game. But I gave it a go anyway by superimposing 4 lots of 25 first shots over each other here. This is what the Famas's first shot accuracy looked like before and after the update. So that's how the Famas's first shot accuracy compares before and after. Sloth says this update should greatly improve its tapping and burst accuracy, but ironically it doesn't improve its ult burst fire feature at all, which at this point has become rather infamous for being next to useless. He says this is a real shame, and he'd love to see its burst accuracy gain some more usefulness by having its second and especially third shot of the burst fire actually have value in game instead of just declaring war on the sky. Here is 5 full mag sprays compared before and after, and I guess it's improved a bit provided you compensate for the recoil pattern, which as I said, I'm now unable to disable in CS2. If my experiences at the HLTV Awards is anything to go by, then nobody has learned to compensate for the Famas's recoil pattern yet, not even the pros. Honestly, the fading decals in CS2 has killed my passion for staring at walls and shooting at them for hours and hours, but I did my best here. Here's how the SMGs compare. This is the MP9's crouch spray before and after. This has always been seen as being a bit of an overpowered SMG in this regard. It's meant to be a spray and pray weapon, not a crouch and headshot kind of gun. And the MP7 and 5 have also caught strays with this update, having their crouching spray accuracy also nerfed. Long story short, crouch firing with these guns is still marginally more accurate than stand firing, but by so little now that you may as well just stand and benefit from the increased mobility that you get with these SMGs, just as God intended. As you can see from the map selection, bye bye vertigo, hello train, and to welcome it in, it's had a few minor tweaks. It's got this change to pop dog, since previously there was a line of sight over the crates, straight into the bomb site, which is a no-no. So an extra stack of crates has been added and an extra window installed above the doorway to enable grenades. Job done. The other change made to this map was slightly more vague, fixing lighting artifacts on two-sided materials. This might be referring to those weird two-way blurry surfaces which line the underside of the train carriages in order to prevent you from seeing right beneath them. It looks like it's been made a bit lighter underneath the train carriages now, as though these things now block less light from passing through them. Also, this bit here had weird lighting artifacts before which have now been smoothed out. Not trusting Valve, I did a series of before and afters around the entire map of Train to see if there had been any other changes, and interestingly, saw the same sort of changes made to the textures with transparencies, like these chain link fences here. Previously they were treated as solid surfaces, casting solid, dark shadows, but now they let pretty much all of the light through. And the other change I saw was to these corrugated metal bits sticking out from the walls, which now have their lighting a lot more in line with the other bits of metal either side of them that aren't sticking out. The AUG and SG scope dot used to be quite subtle and would be impossible to see against bright surfaces and stuff, but that's no longer the case, for it's been amplified to the power of the sun. It's so bright that you can even make out the square-shaped sprite that the dot is based upon. Valve, please fix. It also looks like bloom has been disabled in the scope view, and everything made slightly darker than were it not zoomed in, perhaps to help further with the dot to be visible over bright stuff like lights. So in a way, this scope dot has been made to be even brighter than the sun. Shout out to Jackie for this one. You can now adjust the colour of your laser dot using the console command CL Iron Sight use crosshair colour 1, and it will then use whichever colour you've chosen in the crosshair section of the options menu. Enjoy! The radar now has an adaptive zoom option. Enable this and it will zoom in and out to accommodate for all your teammates, wherever they may be on the map. Meanwhile, if you're all huddled up close together in a snug corner somewhere, then it'll zoom right in on you, invading your privacy and so on. Whether this is a good or bad thing is down to personal preference. It means you can't trust distances on the radar anymore as they'll be constantly adjusting, but it does mean the radar, in general, does show what's going on at the highest zoom level possible. Try it out and see how you feel about it. How cool is this? If you only used secondary fire on the revolver, you were able to sell the gun back again. Good as new, but this has now been fixed. The grenade order in spectator view now matches the order in which the player will cycle through them, and the bomb icon has been made a bit brighter. Apparently. This is how it looks before and after. All I noticed is that the bomb icon almost disappears now before flashing back and returning to full brightness. A long-standing trick to evade Overwatch was for cheaters to crash the server or to corrupt the demo in some way, making any proof of their hacksery ways vanish. Just like that. Poof. But this update has made demos more resilient to corruption. This is great news as it shows that Valve hasn't given up their Overwatch feature and are instead patching up its weaknesses in order to allow for hopefully more cheat detections moving forward, and just in time for Season 2's new leaderboard. Check out Valve's Twitter account. Their banner has been updated to show all the different medal tiers you can get from winning enough games this season. Counter-strafe summaries are documented, presumably to detect naughty snap tap use or other built-in keyboard features to try and improve on your counter-strafing timings and precision. So all in all, none of these are huge changes to the game, and yet this update feels like it changes everything. The end of Season 1 is like the end of CS2's earliest days. Season 2 feels like a new start for the game. The moment it distances itself from the way of CSGO, are operations now a thing of the past? Or we simply get seasons instead, with predefined end dates and objectives serving as an incentive for the player base to tune in regularly and to partake in the game's evolving story? We'll see.